Guys, can I be really real with you for a second? Like, really, really real. Like, I wasn't actually ever going to tell people some of the things that I think I might say today, but I really do want to be an open book, and I really do want to help people. And for the most part, on Facebook land, here recently, I haven't really stated too awfully much about my life. I think when I would get to a point where I was just exploding and unloading at the world, I'd put up a post that I would almost immediately regret and take it down, but that was few and far between. I've shared Jenna's story. My story is a little different. My story is heartbreaking and emotional, and I still struggle with it. I'm probably going to cry while I talk about this, which is why I'm doing the video this way instead of on a live. June 27th, 2019. I married Tim. There had been some issues amongst his biological family that created quite an issue. We had gotten a letter in the mail stating law enforcement did not wish to pursue this issue. We felt like we had the green light to get married whenever we wanted to. So we had nothing better to do that day, and actually I forgot about an appointment I had. Thought we had nothing better to do that day. And we were like, to heck with it, let's get married. That's what we wanted to do anyway, so what better time than the present, you know. 5 days later, there's a knock on our door in between my summer bus run. It was time for him to go have some silver bracelets for a while. 5 days after we were married. Guys, when I say I fell apart in epic proportions. Up until that point, I had been struggling with, the separation from my kid's dad and the divorce, and it proved to be emotionally, it wiped me out. Tim was my solid. Tim was my constant. Tim had helped me get through all that in a level that, I didn't think I was going to come away from some of the crazy that happened through it. And then he was just yanked from me, just like that. I went on my noon run. I picked up my kids. I was on the way back, and my phone rang. Thankfully, my van was empty, and I pulled off to the side, and I answered my phone. And it was to let me know that he was not coming home. I will not disclose details. It's not y'all's business. From a wife's perspective, I fell apart. I fell apart so bad. I took the van back to the lot, and I drove like a zombie back to the house, and I started screaming. Screaming. The neighbors had to have thought I was, I was exactly what they must have thought. I was having a freaking psychotic break. I took my hand and smeared everything off of every surface. I overturned chairs. and tables and screamed until I lost my voice, cried until I threw up, and eventually collapsed and continued crying until I passed out. I don't know that I had ever broken like that. A month later, I was raped in my own house by a member of his family. Long story, also not getting into that, just doing the highlight reel here. There is still ongoing legal action for it. So this was not even a month later. He was taken in July 5th, July 23rd was the date. I tried to resume life. It was all I knew, and I went to work the next morning and realized that there was no way, no how I could do this, and I went to Chester County Hospital for a kit. I was in there for more than 24 hours, and when I came home, there was an eviction notice on my door because of my husband's charges. It hadn't even been a month since I had been married. Cue the crazy again. I didn't know where I was going to go. Between July 24th and September 3rd, we packed up my house. We bought a house. And we moved to a whole different location. I was on the verge of being homeless. I was scared. And it took a village. It took a whole army of people supporting me and just holding me afloat because I was going crazy. I can't tell you, every time I tried to pack a box, I fell apart. I started crying. Stupid things like, this is the couch that my husband and I just bought together, and, stupid things. Frankie and Jimmy helped immensely. Since then, Frankie has passed. Jeb and Kathy helped more than you can possibly imagine. You have no idea how much I appreciate that. I had coworkers coming over to help me pack, and people pitched in on pizza nights and renting the moving truck. And somehow we pulled it all together. And on the evening of September 3rd, all of a sudden I found myself alone in a new house, in a new area. No animals, no kids were with me that day. Exhausted and scared. Really scared. And I had never felt more alone in my life. That was the beginning of the downward spiral. I threw myself into work. I took every single bus trip and job imaginable. Meanwhile, my mental health was spiraling downward fast, and I was trying my hardest not to show a soul. I was trying to hold it together, and I didn't hold it together. I worked straight through Thanksgiving and straight through Christmas break aside from 3 whole days. Um, New Year's Eve, I had to work. And after work, another driver that was working with us, I said, please tell me you want to come out for a drink because I need a drink. All of a sudden, I was going through yet another event, yet another holiday, so to speak, without my husband, in a new environment. My kids were with their dads. I was alone. And I hadn't told anybody yet how bad I was falling apart. I barely talked to my parents. I shut everybody out. Everybody. And he was able to come out for a little bit, had a couple drinks. He left. Probably the smartest thing I've ever done out of this past year is that night I left my car with a friend that was staying at my house and my keys. And I had my coworker take me to the bar. And when he left, I had my friend come and get me. And lucky thing, because I was blasted. I don't normally. I'm not advocating that we should do this, by the way. Don't think that. Like, this is a full-blown mental break here, okay? He helped nurse me through the falling apart, the drunk, goofy me, because that's who I am when I drink. And, basically tucked me in bed. But while I was in my bedroom after I woke up, the depression kicked in with the hangover. Y'all, that was the day that I sat on my floor with a bottle of pills in one hand and a razor blade in the other. I couldn't do it anymore. I had never felt so hopeless. I had been nonstop through all of this, struggling with Jenna. Her emotional crazy. And I had put me to the side for so long. I stopped figuring out how to care for my mental health. I just let it go. I didn't know how to fix it, so I didn't. I didn't do anything. I just shut down. Right around that point is that day or the day after. I talked to Tim faithfully every single blessed day. The amount of money I spent on phone calls is unreal. I visited every Friday. I never stopped until COVID. But I'm sitting there holding a bottle of pills and that razor blade, and my phone hadn't rang all morning. And my phone just kept ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing. And finally, I'm like, what? What? What do you want? Like, I'm trying to get away from you people. I'm trying to die. I can't do it anymore. Remembering how I felt back then is terrifying because, guys, I'm not in that place anymore. I am still healing, and it is still hard some days. With full transparency, there is no magic drug that makes your emotions shut off. I'm not going to ever advocate that there is something magical that will make your humanity just go away. This isn't Vampire Diaries. It does not work that way. I can say that it was around that point in time that Tim and I decided to go our separate ways because I couldn't take anymore. And it was bad. Like, it was really bad. And so we decided to remain friends until we figured out how the legal things were going to play out, just how everything was going to go. And I decided at that point that I was just going to start hanging out with friends more and just live a little bit. Um, so I went out with Robbie on, we went out four-wheeling and just started spending time together, to pull myself back from the edge. Quite honestly, neither one of us, I was sane enough at that point to believe that I didn't have any business being by myself in the middle of the crazy. So I didn't. Um, I stayed over at Robbie's quite a bit while I got my head screwed back on straight. And you know, I did good at realizing when I needed help kind of from that point on, I guess. Um, yeah, I'll show you this. I don't know if you can see it. Do you see that scar? Maybe I'll turn the camera around for a minute. I don't know if I can. Do you see that scar? It's fading now. At one point in time, it was a deep cut, and there was blood dripping down my arm. I'm stuck with the scar that I see, that discolored skin every day, to remind me that I never want to be like that again. I don't want to go there. I don't want my mental health to fail that badly. The rest of the year continued to go absolutely as crazy as the first half of the year. I had 7 months of calm, 7 months of tranquility, 7 months of having a family, living a normal life. Not 7 months, goodness gracious. 4 months. From January until the end of April. It was me and Robbie and our 6 kids together. And we had those 4 months of peace, calm, normal family home life. Until more tragedy struck. More crazy happened. I'm healing, guys. I'm not going to disclose the rest of the year. I'm not ready to talk about that yet. I'm healing, and life is messy. It's not an easy road. It's not a walk in the park. Tim and I are working on us. This past year was what would have broken most marriages to shreds, and I'm not even for a second going to pretend that it's easy. I'm not. Tim is an amazing man, but I'm not going to pretend that it's easy. Not for 1 second, because this past year scarred us both tragically. What I am going to say is, for the first time since October of 2018, when my world, really got kicked into overdrive, really spiraled downhill, is that I don't feel hopeless. Yes, I get discouraged Yes, I get emotional. Yes, I have moments where the depression kicks in a little bit. I'm not telling you that I'm not human, and I never will tell you that. What I'm telling you is that Q Max from Q Sciences has damn near saved my life, if not completely, because being suicidal isn't fun. Dealing with the extreme depression and extreme hopelessness to the point where you just want to take yourself out, it's not fun. Guys, life isn't always peachy. But I was to the point where I was having anxiety attacks upwards of 10 times a day. Every once in a while I would have one that was so bad that it I needed to go to the hospital. I couldn't control my breathing. I would stop breathing. It was terrible. Guess what? It's manageable. And I haven't had a panic attack in weeks. You know, my anxiety is at a normal level. My depression is so much better. Like, gone. I'm going to say gone. Because while there are moments where, I get sad, I get down, there is nothing unbearable about it. I just know that life happens. If you can relate with any part of this, guys, I'm telling you, there is help. There is help. And I have a huge support system. And I do have a counselor. I am in therapy. I am doing all I can to help myself. I don't have side effects from taking natural supplements. I really don't. And I feel like $1,000,000 in comparison to how I have over the past several years. Please, seriously, if you are struggling, let me help you. I shared all this to tell you I know all too well what depression and anxiety feels like. Don't live with this. There's help. And I'm here, whether to talk to you, whether to help you get on a supplement, whether to help you find resources for counseling, whatever. I'm here. And I want to help. Please let me help. Have a good day, guys.